Okay. Hello. Can you guys hear me? See lots of people in the chat today, which is always good. Can anybody just say yes if you can hear me, please, just so that I know that things are okay. Yeah. So just confirm, please. Carlos says yes. Great. All right. Awesome. All right. Hello, everyone. Nice to see everybody this week again. So I can see a lot of people in the chat, and a lot of everybody saying hi. Hello, everyone. I can see lots of people are here, which is always good. So we have Gerardo, we have Abdul Men'im, we have Patricia, we have Carlos, Jonas, Pharmabytes, Nareen, and who else do we have? We have Sarah, we have Raul, Hans, Jacqueline. Welcome back, Jacqueline. Lots of people, which is great. All right, there's a lot of people actually, so I'm not going to say everybody's name, but hello to everybody, and thank you for coming. Thank you for coming this week. Nareen is asking a question. Do you speak in Arabic? No, I don't. I can, but I don't do that on in the lesson, right? So this is a purely English lesson, and I just talk in English. Hi Karim, hi Jose, nice to meet you. Hi, everybody. Awesome, lots of people are here today. That's great. Okay, so let's get started. So before I start, I just want to say a few things. So as some of you know, because I see a lot of familiar faces here. Good evening, Karim. Good evening, Garima. Nice to meet you. So my name is Karim. For the people who are here for the first time, I am a teacher here at Canadian College of English Learning, and I've been doing this for about 5 years now. I also have another channel on YouTube, but it's not related to English. It's a cooking channel. So if you like food and you like to eat, or you just like to look at food, please go check me out over there. And you guys are gonna find the links for everything in the description below. But before I get started this week, I just wanted to share with you a few different things that we're doing here in Smrt. So just so you guys can know, let me just show you the main screen. So there. All right. So you guys can see the screen now. And I don't know why I look weird, right? Like my color is different this week, and I am not sure. I'm not sure why. Muhammad is asking, are you a new teacher? I'm a new teacher in the streaming, so in the YouTube videos, yes. But I've been using Smrt for about 5 years now, and I've been teaching here for about 5 years. So I'm not new in the school or for Smrt, but yeah, I've been doing this streaming recently. So this is my 5th lesson. So I want to share with you guys some things just so we can get started. Starting from, I think, after this class, you guys can start to check me out on my own channel, which is this one. So, so on YouTube, you can follow me or subscribe to my channel, which is Karim Smrt Live. I'm still part of Smrt. Smrt is just doing things a little bit different now. So Smrt is sort of giving each teacher his own channel, and all of us are connected to Smrt. So if you want to subscribe to my channel, just this is where you can find it, right? So Karim Smrt Live, and you can subscribe to me over there. There's also going to be a Twitter that we are setting up, and the Twitter is at Karim Smrt Live. So so yeah, so you guys can tweet at me and sort of ask me questions, and we can have we can sort of chat with each other, you know. So come join my tribe, and let's start up a conversation. You can also check out my Instagram, and as you can see, I have nothing yet because this was just done yesterday. So Julian was here about 5 minutes ago, and he was just showing me all these new accounts that they made for me. So everything is brand new. I didn't do anything yet on them, but yeah. So this is my Instagram. It's going to be Karim Smrt Live, so you can check me out there. And the last thing is the Facebook. So my Facebook is called Karim Live. So yeah, so these are all the links. So Facebook, Karim Live; Instagram, Karim Smrt Live; the Twitter is going to be at Karim Smrt Live; and my YouTube channel is going to be Karim Smrt Live, right? And remember, you can always watch this video and sort of pause just to look at the names again if you guys want. Mariam says it's 23:04 from Algeria. Thank you, Mariam, for staying up so late for the class. That is great. Rosa says, I already did, Karim. Thank you so much, Rosa. That was very quick. Rosa is saying this sometimes happens with Sean. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I think you guys are talking about something. Ah, yes. Rosa says you're a little blue, Karim. Yeah, I know, right? I look different. I'll make sure to ask Julian for next time what this is about. Rosa is saying ask Julian to fix it. Well, Julian is not here, Rosa, right? So Julian, he's left me alone to do things on my own. All right, so let's start. So what Brian is asking, what will the class be about? So today's class is, so we're continuing in our sort of intermediate, lower intermediate to intermediate English, and we are, so last week, if you guys remember last week, we did, I believe, 3 kinds of verbs, and we did have and have got before that, and we had 2 vocabulary lessons before that. So today we are going to be doing questions, which is the second grammar unit, or the second grammar lesson in Unit 1. Karim, you can ask Julian to fix the color. All right, well, I'll try to tell him that I need to fix the colors, and I don't know where Julian is right now, but we'll see if he's going to come. So I need to fix colors. So there, I sent him a message, and we'll see if he's going to come or not. Rosa says, no, it's okay, blue's my favorite color. Well, great. All right, so let's start with our lesson. So today is another grammar lesson, and we are going to be talking about questions, right? So forming questions. So this is very early in the unit. This is Unit 1 in Smrt 120. So we're still talking about a lot of very simple, very basic things. So let's begin. So let's see what we have. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is inversion auxiliary before subject. So inversion is literally what this part of the sentence is saying. Inversion means when we put the auxiliary verb before our subject in a question sentence. So normally, as you guys know, because I know that you know how to do this, I've seen you guys write, it says normally the auxiliary verb or the modal verb, like we talked about last week, goes before the subject in questions. And we call this inversion, right? So usually, this is what it looks like. Usually when you say a sentence, we would say they have seen the movie, or she is staying with her sister until tomorrow, or we can use his car. If you notice on the right side here, this is the inversion, right? This is what we mean by inversion. So instead of saying they have seen the movie, to make it into a question, you start with your auxiliary or your modal verb. So in this case, we have the auxiliary verb or the helping verb, have. So have they seen the movie? Have they seen the movie? And very simply, this is all what inversion means, right? So inversion is just very simply when you have your auxiliary verb or your modal verb, we put it before the subject to form a question. Wajid says, nice to see you again, Karim. Very nice to see you, Wajid. Wajid used to actually be a student in my class here in Vancouver at CCL. Thank you for joining the class, Wajid. Very good to see you again. Hussein is asking, what's the topic today? The topic is questions, Hussein, right? So that's what we're doing today. So one more time, very simply, inversion just means that you put your modal or your auxiliary verb before the subject, and this is what we do to form a question, right? So just like here, they have seen the movie. If I want to make this into a question, I'll say, have they seen the movie? And all of them are the same. If you look at all these examples, they're the same, right? So she is staying with her sister until tomorrow. Is she, right? So you always start with your modal or your auxiliary verb. We can use his car. Can we use his car? You are doing homework. Are you doing homework? And all of them are the same, right? Okay, so what do we do if there is no other auxiliary verb, right? So what do we do if we don't have another auxiliary verb in the sentence? Well, this is when we use do, does, or did to form a question. So for example, you like soccer. So if you guys remember from last week, we were talking about the different kinds of verbs. And in this sentence, there is no auxiliary verb. There's just a main verb, right? There's no other verb that's helping the verb like. So you like soccer. No auxiliary verb, no modal verb in this sentence. So to make it into a question, what I need to do now is use do, does, or did, right? So you like soccer. Do you like soccer, right? Do you like soccer? Smrt says, please, Karim, zoom in. More than this. I'm pretty zoomed in. This is as much as I can go, Smrt. If I zoom in any more than this, I'm not going to be able to see the screen. I think this is the largest that I can go. I hope you guys can see. All right, here we go. So one more time. Inversion, that means we start with your modal or your auxiliary verb before the subject of the sentence, right? So remember, the subject is the person, right, or the thing that is doing the action or the verb in the sentence. If I don't have a auxiliary verb or a modal verb, then we use do, does, or did. So just like these examples. Do you like soccer? He had a great time last night. Again, notice this sentence, it doesn't have an auxiliary verb. Had here is not a helping verb, it's the main verb in the sentence, right? And we talked about this last year, that last week, that auxiliary verbs can sometimes be main verbs, right? They're not always auxiliary verbs. So like this example, he had a great time last night. Had here is a main verb, so there is no auxiliary verb in the sentence. And for that reason, we are using did, right? So did he have a great time last night? And of course, we're using did because it's in the past, right? We're asking about last night. And the last one is the same again, right? It rains a lot in this city. There's no auxiliary verb in the sentence. There's no helping verb. Rains is your main verb here. So it rains a lot in this city. So we're going to use does to turn this into a question. Does it rain a lot in this city? Does it rain a lot in this city? Omar says, hey Karim. Hey Omar. Omar's another person that used to be in the school here. Very nice to see you. Thank you for coming to the class. All right, so before we go on, just very quickly, right? A very quick recap or a quick review of what we just talked about. So normally, right, the auxiliary verb goes before the subject. Right? This is what we do if we want to make a question, right? So they have seen the movie, it will become have they seen the movie. Now, what do we do if we don't have an auxiliary verb in the sentence or a modal verb in the sentence? This is when we use do, does, or did, right? Like, do you like soccer? Okay, let's keep moving on. Subject questions, no inversion, right? So subject questions, no inversion. Okay, so it's saying here that when who, what, which, whose, how many, and etc., right? etc just means etc. That means and anything else that is similar to what we just said, right? So who, what, which, whose, how many, and anything else that is similar to that are the subject of the sentence. We do not use inversion. Let's read that carefully one more time, right? So when who, what, which, whose, how many, or whatever are the subject of the sentence, that means they are the people that are doing something, right? So if who, the person that I'm asking about in the sentence, is the subject, that means he's doing the verb, then we don't need to use inversion. So let's take a look at some examples. Hopefully that'll make it a little bit clearer. It says, please, Karim, delete the chat from the screen. What chat? I don't know what you're talking about. Raphael says, hi, Karim, good to see you again. Thank you, Raphael. Thank you for coming. Israr, I'm not sure what you mean. Somebody's asking to please delete the chat from the screen. I don't have a chat on the screen. I don't know what you're talking about. Right? You guys, can you guys see a chat on the screen? I don't think so. Right? There's no chat. Joao is asking, hey Joao, thank you for coming back this week. Joao is asking, Karim, what is the difference between etc. and so on? Nothing really. If you use it in the same sentence, in the same way, they're the same meaning. So I can say, for example, here, when who, what, which, whose, how many, and so on are the subject of the sentence, we do not use inversion. So etc. and so on can be interchangeable, right? That means you can take this word out, put this one in instead, and it will mean the same thing. Pharma Bites is saying, how do we pronounce soccer? Like that, soccer. You pronounce it soccer. All right. There is no chat, Israr, on the screen. Everybody else is saying that there's no chat here. I think maybe you're looking at it on your mobile or a mobile device, so the chat is part of your screen. I think that's only on your screen. Somebody else is asking, Mustafa is asking, is there an upper intermediate live lesson? Yes, there is. So just go to the Smrt Live page, and you'll see all the other teachers with the different lessons, and you should also see the levels written on there. Yeah, so there's definitely some upper intermediate lessons that you can find. Just go to the Smrt Live page. All right, one more time. So when who, what, which, whose, how many, or anything that's similar to that are the subject of the sentence, we do not use inversion. So let's see what that means. So Steve went to the party. Steve went to the party. So if I want to ask about the person that went to the party, if I don't know who went to the party and I want to ask about that, I'm obviously going to use sorry, excuse me, guys. I'm going to use the question word who, right? Because I want to ask about a person. So who went to the party? Steve went to the party. And this is what we mean by the subject, right? If you notice, who went to the party, that means the verb went in this sentence, the person that's doing this action is the answer to who, right? Which is Steve. So that's what we mean by the subject of the sentence, right? That means the person that's doing the action, and that's who I am asking about in this case, right? So when I say who went to the party, Steve went to the party. Steve is the subject, right? So I'm asking about the subject, the person who's doing the verb in the sentence. Mustafa says, okay, thanks, Ross and Karim. Have a nice night and a lesson. Thank you, Mustafa. I hope you find what you want in the upper intermediate. Nareen is asking, can we also say who did go to the party? Not really, no, not in this sense. If you're not sure who went and you want to ask who, right? You just say who went to the party, right? It's not completely wrong to say who did go to the party, but it's in it'll only work in specific sort of situations, right? But normal situations that 99% of people ask about, if you don't know who went, we would just say who went, right? So who went to the party. Hello from Brazil. Hey, Jonas. Thank you for coming to the class. Nice to have you here. All right, let's continue. The next one, it says 13 people are sitting in the room. So in this case, I am asking about the number, right? So I'm asking about the amount or the quantity or the number of people, right? So how many people are sitting in the room? Again, if you notice, the answer to this question is a subject, right? So 13 people are sitting in the room. So I'm asking about who's doing the action. And this is what we mean by this sentence up here. When they are the subject of the sentence, right? That means they're doing the action. Okay. Chlorophyll makes trees green. Chlorophyll makes trees green. So I'm trying to find out, why are trees green? What is the thing that makes them green, right? So what, right? So we're going to be using what. What makes trees green? What makes trees green? The answer, which is the subject because it's doing the main verb, is chlorophyll, right? So chlorophyll makes trees green. The construction is making so much noise. The construction is making so much noise. Again, in this case, it's what, right? Because I'm asking about what is doing something, right? So construction is. So what is making so much noise? My car is sitting outside. Now, whose, we use whose when we are asking about possession. So what does possession mean? Possession very simply means who's the owner of something, right? So for example, this is my pen, right? Possession, that means I'm the owner. It belongs to me, right? So whose car is sitting outside? And in this case, my car, for example, is sitting outside. So one more time, who when we're asking about people, how many when you're asking about quantity or amounts or numbers. Julian says, hello, Mr. Karim. It's nice to finally meet you. Thank you, Julian. It's nice to meet you too. And just call me Karim. There's no need for Mr. or anything. But thank you for coming. Julian was chatting with me and asking me some questions in the comment section on last week's lesson. Thank you for coming. Hi, everyone. Can we say who is making so much noise? Yes, you can. You definitely can. So Garima is asking, can we say who is making so much noise? Yes, very good. Excellent. And the last one, it says Best Buy sells that computer. Best Buy sells that computer. So which, now if you notice, we use which for things that are not people, right? So I'm asking about Best Buy is the name of a very popular electronics and computers and sort of just mainly electronics store here in Canada and North America. So Best Buy sells that computer. So Best Buy is not a person, right? It's not a man, it's not a woman, it's not a person. So that's why we're using the word which, right? So which store sells that computer? And that's it. Now, why are we talking about this? Because of this main point, right? When we use any of these question words here, like who, how many, what, whose, or which, we do not use inversion, right? We do not use inversion. What is inversion? We just said inversion is when your auxiliary verb or your modal verb goes before the subject of the sentence, right? To form a question. We call this inversion. Just like the examples here. Can we use this or his car? Are you doing homework? Right? So same thing. When we do who, what, which, whose, when, all these words, there's no need to do inversion, right? You should not use it. Joao is saying, I did not understand the meaning of sitting in the sentence, my car is sitting outside. Is it the same thing as I say my car is parked outside? Yes, that is exactly the same meaning. Yeah, my car is sitting outside. It just means it's staying in the same spot, right? But yes, it means parked. That's what it means. Michael is asking, Karim, can you give us an example with whom? I don't really want to get into whom right now, just so I don't mess up the lesson here, and so I don't confuse other people, right? But I'll definitely take that into account, right? So I'll make a note of that, and I'll make sure that we'll talk about that one day. But I don't want to confuse people right now, so I'll leave whom to another day. Julian is asking, can we have articles? Yes, we're going to have articles at some point. Yep, we're definitely going to do articles at some point. It's just that I only do one lesson a week, right? So it's going to take some time until probably we get to, everybody wants to do something. So I'm not sure when are we going to get to the thing that you want, right? So, but don't worry, right? I'm here every week, and every week we're going to be doing something different. All right. Let's continue. So at the end here it says we use question words as the subject of the sentence, right? Like here, right? These question words, they're acting as the subject of the sentence, right? That means the thing or the person that is doing the verb, that's doing the action of the verb. So we use question words as the subject of the sentence because we are asking for the subject, right? So just like I showed you guys here, When I say who went, who here is the subject, and the answer is also going to be the subject, in this case, Steve, right? So that's what they're saying here. We use the question word as the subject. Why? Because I'm asking about the subject. I want to know who is doing the verb. Okay. And just to make it a little bit clearer, right? Let's see the difference of what we mean if we ask for the subject against asking for the object, right? Just to make it very clear for you guys. So asking for the subject means you would say something like, who asked? Who asked? Somebody did, right? So somebody asked. So that means the main verb, asked, is done, right, by the subject. In this case, it's who, right? So I'm asking you who is doing the main verb in this example. Now, if I want to ask about the object, look at the difference. It's going to say, who did you ask? Who did you ask? Now, who's the subject in this sentence? The subject is you, right? I'm asking you, who did you ask? So I'm asking you. You're the one who's doing the verb, not the person that you asked. So I'm asking you about the person that received the verb from you. And this is why it's called the object, right? So I hope that this is clear. When you look here, remember, so the blue word is the subject. So who you asked, that means, oh, sorry, who asked, right? That means who's the person that did the verb ask. Here, who did you ask? I'm not asking you who did the verb. I'm asking you, who did you do the verb to, right? So the subject is you in this case, and this is the person that I'm asking about. But it's not a subject here, it's an object, right? So remember, an object is something that the action is happening to, and a subject is somebody that's doing the action. Okay. Miriam says, I hope you give us lessons every day. Thank you so much, Miriam, for your kindness, but I'm afraid I don't have time to do that. But I promise, if I do actually clear up some more time, I might do 2 lessons a week or something, but we'll see. Right now I'm really busy. Israr says, can you explain again what the mine inversion? What do you mean by mine inversion? What's mine inversion? All right, I'm not sure what you mean, but if you're talking about inversion, like I said before, right? So inversion very simply means when you start your question with your auxiliary verb, helping verb, right, or your modal verb. So like this sentence here, this is an example of inversion, right? In a positive sentence, I would say they have seen the movie. In the inversion word, right, in a question, you will start with your auxiliary verb or your modal verb. So, have they seen the movie? That's it. This is what inversion is. So Rosa, yes. So Rosa did answer that very well. Very good. Julian is saying he has to go. He's at work and he's going to watch the full video tomorrow. All right, so I would not, I don't want to encourage you not doing work at work, Julian, just to watch the video. But yeah, so please watch it later. Thank you very much. All right. What's up? Oh, Julian is here. Julian is here to fix the blue.
Just 1 second.
All right, so what are we doing? Advanced. Oh, we are in the advanced section of the programs. Ah, there we go. I look like me now. Yes, very nice. Oh. Thanks, dude. Yeah. All right, so Julian fixed it, and unfortunately, I did not have a chance to look exactly where he fixed it from. So hopefully this doesn't happen again. All right. Karim, thank you very much. You're welcome. You're welcome, Israr. Okay. And Garima says, now good. Excellent. So everybody understands what's happening so far, which is fantastic. Let's continue. Okay. All right, so some prepositions. I think this is, we're about halfway. We're about in the middle of the lesson right now, which is good. Oh, before we continue, so I want to answer, remember last week I asked you about the movie quote, and I asked you who said, or what movie was the quote, all right, from. And I think a lot of you were actually answering back then in the chat, and some people answered in the comment section on the videos, but I did not say what the correct answer was, just to give everybody a chance. But congratulations to UL and Patricia and Driata and Melinda Ha, right? So all of them said that this was a quote from the movie Dazed and Confused. And that is correct, right? So Dazed and Confused, it's an old movie, so it sort of shows my age a little bit. But yeah, it's one of my favorite movies, and I really like that. So good job, you guys. Remember, stay tuned to the end of today's lesson, and I will give you a new quote from a new movie for you guys to find for next week. Okay. Everybody's saying much better now, much better now. Yes, right? So I'm actually not blue, right? This is my complexion color. So here we go. All right, let's continue. Prepositions. So prepositions, Barna says, could you tell me how long your video streams are? I try to make it about an hour, but it's really hard to keep it within an hour. So it's about anywhere from an hour, 15 minutes to an hour and a half usually, right? I think that's the average time now for my streams. Yeah, but remember, if you guys are busy or you have anything to do, you can always watch the videos later, right? So after the video is finished, it's going to be available on the channel on YouTube, and you can always watch it later. So don't worry about that, right? I appreciate you trying to come here and attend the lesson. Rosa says, give us an easy one this time. Well, I don't know what would make a quote easy, but let's see if it's going to be easy or not. Anyway, we'll do that at the end. So let's continue. Okay, prepositions. So prepositions are words in English, usually that come before nouns, right? So words like in, on, under, above, below, since, for, right? We have prepositions of time, we have prepositions of place and location and direction. However, today we're talking about prepositions when it comes at the end of a question, right? So if you notice when I said prepositions now, I said prepositions usually they come before a noun, but when we're making questions, a preposition comes at the end. So let's see. It says it's common for a preposition to come at the end of a question. So where did you come from, for example, right? So when you are asking about where something, right? Where did something come from, right? That's the preposition that we always usually use, from. So the question form would be like this: where did you come from, right? What is he talking about, right? So when we say talking, right, if you're trying to ask about the topic, right, what is the subject that people are having a conversation about, we always use the preposition about, right? So in this case, like we said, it's going to come at the end of the sentence because it's a question. So what is he talking about, right? And then you would answer, he's talking about blah, 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 right? So what is he talking about? What is Michael interested in? So in, again, this is the preposition that we usually use with the word interested, right? So try to think of it like as a collocation, right? So remember, collocations are words that we usually say together, right? For example, taking a shower, right? You always say take a shower, right? Things like that, right? So prepositions are the same. Usually prepositions don't change, right, in the way that we use them. So from, we always use with where, right? If you're asking about where something is from, right? Talking about, right? That's the prepositions that we usually use with talking. Lane Chris is saying prepositions in the end is my karma. I'm struggling with it. Karma. I don't know what you mean by karma, but there's an expression that says is my kryptonite, which means that it's something that makes things very hard for you, right? Or it makes you struggle or difficult, like Superman, right? Superman, when you show him kryptonite, which is this green sort of rock, it takes away his power, right? So that's the expression usually. Prepositions in the end, I would say, is my kryptonite. Well, don't worry, Lane, right? The more you practice, the better you get. That's it. Language is just a skill, right? The more you practice it, the better you get at it. So don't worry about that. All right. So interested, remember, we always use the preposition in when we say interested, right? So for example, I'm interested in sports. I'm interested in cooking. I'm interested in whatever it is that you want, right? So interested in. It's always in. What are you good at? So the preposition at is very commonly used when you are asking what is somebody good at, right? So that's how we always say it. So I am good at cooking without recipes, for example, right? I am good at cooking without recipes. And who do you live with, right? So again, in this example, with is the preposition that we always use when you're asking who, right? Somebody lives with, right? So who do you live with? I live with my wife. I live with my parents. I live with my roommate. I live with my friend. Whatever you want to say, right? It's always with. Lane saying thank you so much. You're very welcome. Okay, so before we start talking about negative questions, again, just a very quick recap. And recap, for you who don't know, just means review, right? So talk about something again very quickly, right? That's called a recap. So again, one more time. What did we say today so far? We said that normally, right, we have a sentence. It starts with your subject and then your auxiliary verb or helping verb or whatever. But if you want to make it into a question, then we use something called inversion, right? And inversion means you mix or you invert the order, right? So we start with the auxiliary or the modal verb and then the subject, like these sentences here, right? What do we do if we don't have an auxiliary verb? What do we do if we don't have a modal verb in our sentence? Well, then we use do, does, or did. Next, we talked about if you are using these question words, right? So we call these question words, right? Words that we use when we ask questions. So words like when, who, what, which, whose, how many, right? Or anything that's similar to that. If you are using any of these words, and these words are the subject of your sentence, that means they are doing the action, right? Then you don't need to use inversion, right? There's no need to use inversion, and you shouldn't actually, right? It's wrong. So after that, we talked about prepositions, and we said that prepositions, when you're asking a question, they come at the end, right? And don't worry about it. Like there's a lot of prepositions, right, that exist. There's no point really in trying to memorize everything. Just get used to practicing things, right? Things that you use regularly will become, after a while, things that you don't have to think about. So just remember these 5 simple prepositions we did today, right? So from is used when you're asking where, about, when you're what are you talking about, right? The subject or the topic that you're talking about. You are always interested in something. What are you good at, and who do you live with, right? These are the ones that we did today. Garima is asking, can we say with whom do you live? Yes, you can. You can definitely say that. No problems. All right. Now let's talk about negative questions. So negative questions, I'm sure you guys already know, right? It's in English, it's pretty simple to make something negative. All you have to really do is just add the word not, right? So not, N-O-T. But there is a small trick here that I want you guys to concentrate on, right? So you don't make this. It's a very silly and a very common mistake that a lot of people do. So let's check it out. So the auxiliary of a question can be negative, right? No problems with that. But it says be careful of the form. So what do we mean by the form? It changes if you are using the long form and if you are using the contracted form. So what is contracted form? Contracted form is the short version, right, of usually words that we put together to make one, right? So for example, cannot, the contracted form of cannot is can't, right? So that's it. That's what we mean by contracted form. And that's really it. The difference is not in a new grammar rule or anything. The difference is just in the forms, right? So the forms, we have to write them a little bit differently. So let's take a look. Contracted form, this is the easy one, right? So contracted form, you're going to have your verb plus not, and then your subject, right? So most of you guys know that, no problem, right? However, if you're going to write the long form, that means not the short version, right? The normal long version is going to be your auxiliary verb. And notice the difference. This is the difference now. The subject has to go in between your verb, right, and the not. So let's take a look at some sentences because it makes it easier, right? Examples are always better than just talking about the rules. So let's take a look. So why didn't you call me last night? Why didn't you call me last night? So most of you know this one, right? There's no problem with this one, I think, for most of you. It says, why didn't you call me last night? Okay, but what if I want to write the same sentence, but I don't want to use a contracted form? Some of you might say, well, if it's easier writing the contracted form, why would I write the other one? Because sometimes your teacher, your professor, your whatever it is that you're writing for, they might ask you specifically not to use contracted form, right? So sometimes people will tell you, don't use contracted form, please. So it's a good idea to know how to do that when you can't write contracted form. So let's see the difference. So why didn't you call me last night? If I want to write the long version, I would say, why did you not call me last night, right? So why did you call me, why did you not call me last night? And that is it, really. That's the only difference, right? So one more time, contracted form, this is the easy way to write it, right? Auxiliary verb, you're not, and then your subject. Why didn't you call me last night? The long form is going to be your auxiliary verb, and then you're going to move the subject, right? You're going to move the subject back in between the not and your auxiliary verb. So it becomes, why did you not call me last night? And the other examples are the same. So let's see. It says, where hasn't she been in the world, right? Where hasn't she been in the world? If you want to write the long version, we're going to say, where has she not been in the world? Where has she not been in the world? Who haven't you met yet? Who haven't you met yet? Again, long version, exactly the same. You're not changing the meaning. You're not changing anything. You're just shifting the position of the subject. And that's it, right? So who haven't you met yet is going to be who have you not met yet? And everything else in the sentence stays the same, right? The only thing is you just change here, right, the position of your subject. Instead of after your auxiliary verb and not, it goes in the middle, right? And that's it. Isra says, yes, Karim, my doctor used to tell us not to use the contracted form in the essay. Yes, right? So I know this because especially when you go to universities, right? A lot of universities don't allow you really to write contracted form, and they want their essays and things like that to be very formal, right? So so that's why it's good to know this. Why have I not seen it coming? Excellent. That is a very that's a great example from CFT teaching. So I'm not surprised there. Very good. Great. Patricia saying, when you don't use contractions in writing. Yes. If you're making a statement, yes. If you're asking, then I just said, right? Some people sometimes will ask you not to make or write in contracted form. Garima is asking which form is good to use. It's not really which one is good or better. It's like it depends on the situation, right? So in text, in chatting, in day-to-day casual conversation, you might use the contracted form, or you might even not, right? Some people, their natural way of talking is they use the formal or the long form. Another situation is like we said, right? So in universities or places like that, a lot of people might ask you not to use the contracted form. All right, great. Everybody's okay. Good. All right, let's carry on. Now, declarative questions, right? So declarative questions. So declarative comes from the word declare, right? Which very simply means just to make a statement, right? But we're not talking about declarative sentences today. We're talking about declarative questions. So what is CFT Teaching is saying interesting class here today. Thank you so much. That means appreciate that. Thank you. Long form is more formal, isn't it? Yes, I would say long form definitely would be considered more formal. Okay, back to declarative questions. So it says here, declarative questions are used when the speaker wants to make sure of something or express surprise. So let's focus on what they're saying here, right? It's not really a question. You're not asking because you don't know, right? That's not what you're doing. So usually we ask questions because I don't know the answer or I want information that I don't have. A declarative question is not like that, right? So a declarative question is it's just a way for you to express that you are surprised, right? You're surprised with something or something that somebody just said or a situation that you just saw. Or you just want to make sure, right? You're just confirming, right? You just want to make sure that what you think is right, right? You're not really asking. So let's take a look at, whoa, what happened? I think I pressed something that got me all the way up. Okay, we're back. So let's take a look at some examples. So it says, I'm a vegetarian. I am a vegetarian. So B is saying, seriously? You don't eat meat at all? Expressing surprise. So obviously, I know that a vegetarian means a person that does not eat meat, right? So that's what vegetarian means, right? So you're not really asking them if you don't eat meat at all because you know that they don't eat meat. They just told you that they are vegetarian, right? So what am I using it as? I'm using it as a way to express that I'm surprised, right? So I'm a vegetarian. You're like, oh my God, you don't eat meat at all? Really? And that's it, right? So you're using it just as a way to show surprise. Okay, let's take a look at another example. It says, Mike and I are going out for dinner. Okay, I'll stay home. You don't want to come with us? Right? So again, he or she just said, I'm going to stay at home, right? So I know that they don't want to come because they said that they're going to stay at home, even when we told them that we're going out for dinner. So when you say you don't want to come with us in a question form here, right, you're just making sure, right? You're not really asking them, right? Because they just said that they're not going. So yes, it's clear that they don't want to come with you, but you're just making sure. Or maybe you're expressing surprise, right? It depends on the situation. It depends on who you're talking to and the relationship that you have together. But that's it. This is basically what a declarative question is, right? So it's a question not to ask for information. It's a question just to express surprise or to confirm or to make sure of something. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue. I like to pronounce words in a funny way sometimes. I should not be doing that. Okay, last picture here says, I'm from France. Really? You're from France? Yes, he just told you he's from France, right? So you're not asking them where are you from because you don't know, right? You're just expressing surprise, right? So really, you're from France? I thought you were from Germany, right? So again, you're not asking because he just told you I am from France, or she. I don't really know who's the person that said that in this picture, but yeah, they just told you, right? So you know the answer. You know that they're not from France. So you're not really asking them that, right? You're just showing surprise. Okay, and that is it, you guys. So this is the end of the questions lesson for today. And I think, yeah, we have enough time to do some exercises, which is good. Great. All right, so I'm gonna open up the exercise here. I should have it ready. Yes. And here we go. All right. Sorry, excuse me. All right, so very simple. The first one says, write a question with why, right? So write a question with why. That means all your questions are going to start with why. for each sentence. So let's take a look at the first two examples. So it says Cheryl has a stomach ache. Remember, you have to ask using why, right? So Cheryl has a stomach ache. So I would say, why does she have a stomach ache? Now notice we use does here, right? Because there is no auxiliary or modal verb in this in the sentence, right? So remember we said that, right? If there's no modal or auxiliary verb, then we use do, did, or does. So why does she have a stomach ache? Steve doesn't want to go camping with us, right? Steve does not want to go camping with us. Why doesn't Steve want to go camping with us? Why doesn't Steve want to go camping with us? And remember, if you are going to do the long form, it's going to be why does Steve not want to go camping with us? And that's it, right? So I'm going to give you guys some time. Wait a second. I think I have the wrong exercise open here. Exercise. There we go. I have the one with the answers, which is not for you guys. That's for me. All right, so here we go. Okay, let's see if I can make this a little bit larger so we can fit 3 questions. No, it's not going to work. All right, let's do these ones. All right, so let's go E, F, and G. Remember, you guys have to answer using why, right? So they wrote that for you, and you have to continue the question. Okay, I'll give you a minute and a half, and I'll see you in a bit.
One, two, three, funky.
All right, let's see what you guys did. Actually, I can see what you guys are doing, and you guys are doing fantastic as usual, which is good. I love it when you guys are on point. Fantastic. All right, so let's see what you guys did. So the first one says the teacher is coughing a lot today. The teacher is coughing a lot today. I think almost everybody got this one right. So Joao, Farouh, Patricia, Garima, Hussein, Maryam, Jacqueline, everybody I think got this one right. Why the teacher is coughing a lot today. Joao, you just have a tiny mistake there, and I think you can notice what it is. But yeah, so the answer should be wait a second, I cannot type here. Let me fix that. Just a second. Make a copy. Yes. Where are we? There we go. All right, so the answer should be, why is the teacher coughing a lot today? Why is the teacher coughing a lot today, right? So remember, is here, right? Is an auxiliary verb, right? Because coughing is our main verb, right? So why is the teacher coughing a lot today? Very good. F, I have a scar on my arm. I have a scar on my arm. And if you guys remember from the vocabulary, we talked about scar and what is a scar before, right? So I have a scar on my arm. A lot of people, I also think, got this one right. Why do I have a scar on my arm? Joao was saying. Madiha, what? No, that's a different one. Where is the one? Jacqueline, why do I have a scar on my arm? Maryam, why do I have a scar on my arm? Farouh, Rosa. Yeah, everybody got this one again. So excellent job, you guys, right? So I have a scar on my arm. It's going to be, why do you have a scar on your arm, right? Why do you have a scar on your arm? Remember, you're asking the person, right, that is saying that, right? So why do you, right, have a scar on your arm? Or actually, it could be in your forearm. You know, a lot of people, it's very common. Sometimes you get a scar or you get a cut and you don't know where you got it from. So maybe you're surprised and you're not sure, and you're like, why do I have a scar on my arm? So yeah, that's actually, both of them are fine. That should be okay. G, my finger is swollen, right? Remember, swollen is another word that we did from the vocabulary that day. My finger is swollen. Why? Let's see the answers that you guys got. Why my finger is swollen? It's not exactly correct. Something is not in the right place. Patricia says, why is my finger swollen? Why is my finger swollen? Okay. Hussein says, why? Sorry, that's for F. Farouh says, why is my finger swollen? Why do I have a scar on my arm? Oh, that's a different one. Why is my finger swollen, Madiha? Yeah, most of you got it right again. I think only just one or two people, they didn't do it wrong, but you just put one word in the wrong place. So yeah, my finger is swollen. Why is your finger swollen? If you said, why is my finger swollen, that's okay, as long as you realize why you're saying that, right? If you're asking about your own finger because you don't know what happened, that's okay. Or if somebody's telling you my finger is swollen and then you're asking them, you will say, why is your finger swollen, right? Because you're asking them, the person that just told you that. Okay, good. Do I have anything else? I think somebody's saying, is the website free? Guillermo is asking, is the website free? I'm not sure what you're talking about, Guillermo. If you're talking about the YouTube, yes, it's free, right? So I'm here every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, and it's free. So yeah, and all the other teachers also are the same, right? So you can watch the streams for free, and you can watch the videos later for free. If you're asking because of the $5 support thing on the website, that's not a requirement. You don't have to do that, right? This is just if you like, right, a specific streamer and you just want to show, I don't know, your appreciation or your support, or you just want to buy them a coffee or something like that. That's the subscription, right? That's $5 a month or whatever. but you don't have to do that, right? It's completely free, completely free. Yes, very good. CFT teaching is 8 p.m. to here. Well, at least it's not as late as a lot of other people, which is good. Okay, let's do one more. I think we can do one more before I let you guys go. Let's go for. There we go. Can I fit? Do you think I can fit the 4? Yeah. Oh, it's not gonna do it. It's not gonna happen. 4? Nope. Can't get the 4. I'm trying. All right. If I make it smaller just by one, can you guys see? Is it okay to see like this? All right. So this is the last set of questions. We'll do these and then we will wrap up. And I will give you this week's movie quote. And I'll let you guys go. And yeah, so I'll see you in about 2 minutes, and I will be back. Okay. Let's check you guys out. You guys are doing a great job. Excellent participation here, and everybody's doing really, really well. Very happy. Okay, let's see what you guys did. So the first one is my nose is bleeding, right? My nose is bleeding. So you should start with why. So let's see what you guys said. Why is your or my nose bleeding? Very, very well done, Joao. Very good, right? So because you can say your or my. So excellent. Why is your nose bleeding, or why is my nose bleeding if you don't know why it is? Why is your nose bleeding? Why is your nose bleeding? Why is your nose bleeding? Everybody's getting this great. So Hussein, Patricia, Farouh, Garima, Miriam. Everybody's doing Isra. Yep, everybody got this one. Good job. Very, very good job, you guys. So the answer should be, like we just said, why is your nose bleeding? Jay says they did not or they didn't do any push-ups. Why? And again, push-ups, we talked about this in the vocabulary lesson before. You guys should know what that is. So why didn't they do any push-ups? Why didn't they do any push-ups? So let's see what you guys wrote. Why didn't they do any push-ups? Very good. Why didn't they do any push-ups? Oh, so Miriam, be careful, right? So Miriam, you wrote the long form, right? Not the contracted. And you said why they did not do, right, any push-ups. So be careful, right? In the contracted form, remember we have to change, right? So it should be why did they not, right? Why did they not? Remember the subject goes in between, right? The not and your pronoun. So why did they not do any push-ups? Why is your nose bleeding? Oh, sorry, that's the old one. Why didn't they do any push-ups? Yes, 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 yes. Everybody's doing very, very well again. So why didn't they do any push-ups? Okay, my elbow is sore. My elbow is sore, right? So your elbow, right, is this part here. And sore, again, we talked about sore before. So why, let's see what you guys did. Why is elbow sore? Where is it? Why is your elbow sore? Yes. Why is your or my elbow sore? Very good. Yes, 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 yes. Everybody, again, excellent. Very well done. So why, it should be why is your elbow sore? And the last one, I need a Band-Aid. I need a Band-Aid. So Band-Aid is like in this picture, right? You should know this again from the vocabulary. I need a Band-Aid. Everybody's saying, let's see. Why do you need a Band-Aid? Very good. Yep, Miriam, very good. What else do we have? Where is it? Why do I or why do you need a Band-Aid? Okay, why do you need a Band-Aid? Why do you need a Band-Aid? Yes, 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 yes. Excellent. Virtual high five to everybody out there today. You guys are doing a great job. Very well done. So why do you need a Band-Aid? And that's it. Why do you need a Band-Aid? Yeah, so that's the end really of our lesson today. So thank you guys so much for attending my class. I really appreciate it. It blows me away every week to see all you coming here to actually sit and watch me talk for a bit. Makes me very happy, and I'm very, very grateful. So thank you so much. Okay, so movie quote for this week is going to be. All right, so listen very carefully, right? So I'm going to say the quote now, and remember, you have to comment in the video's comment section, right? So don't answer in the chat, because after I finish the stream, I can't see the chat anymore, right? So I can't see anything if you write it in the chat. So make sure, please, to write it in the comment section below this video, right? So I can see it, and I always read the comments, and I answer them, right? So if you want me to see something, make sure that you put it in the comment section. So the quote for the movie this week is, "Then we will fight in the shade." Okay, did you hear that with my voice? I don't know if you guys did. Well, let's see if I can write it here. All right, so I'll just let me delete this, and I'll write it here one more time. So it's so this is the quote, right? "Then we will fight in the shade." So your task for next week is to tell me what movie is that from, and remember, put it in the comment section below so I can see the answers. And yeah, and that's it. So please remember, I have a new channel now that is linked to Smrt, but it's a separate channel that's mine. So please don't forget to subscribe over there and hit the bell button so you guys can get notifications. Check out my new Facebook, my new Instagram, and the Twitter if you want to talk to me or chat with me or ask me questions or whatever. And don't forget, if you are hungry or you like anything that is related to food, check my other YouTube channel out, which is called Food AF, and the link is in the description below. And that's it. So thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next Wednesday at the same time right here. So yeah, have a great day, week, good morning, good evening, and good night, and I'll see you guys. Shpow.